All right, we are back with you all. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you enjoyed those presentations from Dana and Bill. Did you enjoy them? Did you get something out of those? Yeah, a lot of content in there. You know, every time I hear Dana, like I was sort of sitting out in the lobby area and I can sort of hear him through a door. And every time I hear Dana talk about financial planning, profitability, he gets really excited. He really does. Like it's something that is meaningful to him. And it's actually really interesting. Even our business, I have a discussion with Dana a lot about our expenses and our key metrics and our profitability, and he's just so insightful. Dana's an interesting dude. This is how good he is with money. When he went to university, he saved $15,000 while he was going to university. And then he ended up buying a 12-plex in Peterborough, where we're both originally from before he moved to Toronto. When it comes to money, he's got it all figured out. So anyway, and I hope you enjoyed Bill's. Unfortunately, I didn't get to hear Bill. He was upstairs, but so good to be back. So here's how we're going to finish out today. So first of all, thanks for staying with us. How many we got left? Because these virtuals, I always say when you get to the last session, who knows? So we got 119 over there, and we've got 100 over here. So we're about, for argument's sake, around 220 we still got left. I think we hit a high point today of, we had 280 registered, I think. Kelly, am I right? I think it was somewhere around 280 registered. And I don't think everybody got on, but I think we had a high point of 260 something, if I remember correctly. So we still got quite a few of you here, so thanks for staying with us. 3 things I want to do. Number 1, I'm going to take 10 minutes. I'm going to take you through some thoughts in our coaching program because, a lot of you are probably considering it. And we'll arrange, if you want, you can have a call with somebody, but I just want to go over the overview so you got an idea of how it all works. Second of all, I want to take you through mindset. So just a few ways that we can actually adjust our mindset, we can train ourselves, but also when I'm going through these, I want you to think about it from a perspective of your team. How can you help your team become better at mindset? Because let's face it, mindset, attitude, as we know, is everything. And then after we finish that, then Dana and Bill are still here. They're going to come out and we will just take your questions, okay? So what you can do is if you've got any questions, you can type them in and we will answer as many questions as we can. If you have any, if you don't have any, I guess we all get to go home soon, right? Just kidding you. Okay, so first of all, I want to talk about our coaching program. Now, I've got many of our coaching members are here right now, so if Patricia Guernsey would be kind enough to put in something in the chat there, but what a great job we do for you, Patricia, okay? Look, I got her off the couch. I did it. I got her off the couch. See, she was laying on the couch there. Everybody see that? So I figured I can get her off the couch. But I do want to say that if you are one of our coaching members, we have many of you on, please take the time and maybe share with the other people because you've had the experience. Like you know what we're all about, so maybe share your thoughts. Only positive ones. If you have negative experiences, please don't share. Okay, we'd rather just keep those. No, I'm just kidding you. So, please share, your experience with our organization, which would be great. But we've really evolved coaching in our company, at least in the last 5 years, because I've discovered that we need to do it differently than maybe we were before. And it hasn't been a radical change, but we constantly are making an evolution. But here's the deal. Here's what everybody has in their life. Everybody has what I call a dream. And in other words, me included, I've got a couple big coaches in my life that have helped me immensely, get through some of the struggles that I've had, because we all have a dream. And what that dream is generally a bigger, brighter, and better future. We want things to be better in the future than maybe they are right now. And the reason I say that is because you wouldn't be on a seminar like this if you weren't excited about making your future, better than your past. So with that being said, how do we make that come true? Well, the challenge that you're faced with when you have a dream for a bigger, better, and brighter future is it's a conflict with the status quo. That's what I say. In other words, you don't know how to produce that result because you've never been there before, right? So you know how to produce the results you're producing right now. You got that one all figured out. But if I want to go from here up to here, then I got to figure out how to produce a result I've never produced before, and I don't have the capabilities in here. I got the capabilities to get here. But now I need the capabilities to get here. And I don't know what those capabilities are because it's different for all of you. Like everybody needs something different. Sometimes I find coaching is more personal than business. Other times it's only business, not personal. Sometimes it's a little bit of both. So most people think what they actually want is more money and they want more time. And externally, that is what we want, right? But that's what everybody is focused on. But I've come to discover something that's the external thing that we want, but here's the internal thing we want. What we want to do is we want to eliminate okay, fear and uncertainty from our life. And actually that PowerPoint looks like a typo. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So we want to eliminate fear and uncertainty from our life. So many of us, what we do is we don't have a predictable business. We don't have a repeatable business. Many of us will start out in January and we're sort of a little bit worried about, can we do it again? Right? And what happens, there's something sits inside of us, and it's fear, it's uncertainty, and uncertainty breeds fear, right? So if we're uncertain about something, we'll be a little bit afraid of it. You know what I mean? It's a terrible negative emotion. I always say we should be driven by love, not driven by fear. We should try to move something towards we want instead of away from something we don't want, but that's a whole other conversation. So what I find people are looking for is certainty. And certainty is that I want to produce this result in the world. I got a new result. Here's what I've done before. Now I want to produce this result. Well, what we bring to you in coaching is that certainty, because we know how to produce that result. As an organization, we've worked with so many people. Like we're working with, people that get businesses that, we actually work with some non-real estate, but 99% of our business is real estate related, but we've worked with software companies and massive builders and all that sort of stuff. We work with builders that, businesses do way over $10 million in revenue, but we also work with many agents, the teams that are doing, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, those sort of numbers, but we also work with individual agents as well. Like as a company, we're just in the real estate space. We can bring certainty to you. You don't have to guess how to produce a result anymore. Now, you still got to do the work. We can't do the work for you, but what we can do is we can bring certainty. And the minute you have certainty, the minute you know how to produce a result, then what ends up happening is you eliminate the fear. But the other thing is the predictability. When you have proper, leadership skills, proper lead generation systems in, your business becomes predictable. You know that if you push this button, this button, this button, this button, you're going to produce a certain result in the world, and most people don't have that. It causes uncertainty, it causes fear, and that is a negative emotion, right, that most people don't want to live with. How do I know? Because I had it for many years in my real estate career. When I first started, I just worked all the time because I was afraid, where's the next deal going to come from? Maybe the market's going to slow down, maybe interest rates are going to, my whole life was ruled by fear. So what I did was I just outworked it all, because at least I could control that. I could control how hard I worked. And then, of course, you get to a certain point, you go, oh, man, I don't know if I got this in me anymore. You start getting a little bit tired, and I had to sort of change the direction that I was going. So here's what we've created. We've created coaching that really follows 3 C's. We call it customized, content, and community. Now, what do I mean by customized? Now, first of all, what happens is after we have a call with you, we get you to do personality profiling, we get to know your business a little bit, find out what it is your dream, then we pick a coach for you. Because every coach is different. Every coach has different strengths and weaknesses. Every coach has a different personality. And we got to match you up properly. Then once we match you up properly, you have your coach that helps you build your customized business any way you want. Because your dream is your dream. I don't know what it is. So they work with you. So you'd have a conversation every couple weeks, you know what I mean? You go through, how do we make out? Where do we want to go? But the coach is always keeping in mind the dream you want to build. And their goal is to keep moving you in that direction. Just keep moving you in that direction. So you might not see massive progress in 2 weeks, but I'll tell you, in a week or in a year, you're going to see incredible progress in terms of what it is you want to produce. But then once we know what the dream is, and now you got somebody to sort of help you take you through that dream. They're like somebody, you're trying to learn how to ride a bike, and they're just sort of running along beside you. Okay, that's really good. Push a little harder, push a little harder here. And I'll be honest with you, it's not a master slave. It's a confidant. It's somebody that has nothing but your best interest in mind. And the challenge is in most cases, we can't see the picture because we're stuck in the frame. We can't see the forest for the trees. And sometimes we don't even realize some of the behaviors and some of the things we're doing. But if we could get rid of some negative behaviors and add some positive behaviors, then all of a sudden you start to produce better results. So we get into content. We have so much content. In other words, we have a 10-week training program that you can use for your agents, where every week you sit down with them for an hour and take them through the training program. We've got hiring guides for you if you want to try to hire staff. If you want to review staff, we got review, here's how to review, how to do a 360 review with your staff. We got all of that content, but also what we do is during the course of a year, we have something called impact training calls. And these are live calls that are recorded that if you can't get on, you can go to the portal and watch them after, which, by the way, all the old calls are there. So this past year is an example. When everything went virtual, we had to teach how to do virtual presentations. So Nathan Dart, who worked with me to figure out how to do it, he did a whole workshop with our coaching member. And this went crazy, the comments I was getting back on exactly how to do a virtual presentation. So he went out and started to do it. He got successful. Then he taught how to do it. So yes, I do some teaching, but we also have a lot of our members that will take some of their best practices and they bring it to you. We had a mindset challenge this past year. You know, and you don't have to get involved in these, but there's going to be all kinds of opportunities for you to get involved in learning some new skills, learning some new ideas. You know, when COVID first hit, we doubled down on all of our training. And we started talking, okay, how do we help these people get outside of themselves right now and produce great results? And I can't tell you how many comments we received that people said, if it wasn't for you as an organization, I'm talking RRI when I say you, that I don't know if I could have got through all this. Because we just doubled down. You know, I talked to the coach, I said, here's what we got to do. We're going to be doing these trainings. Here's what I need you to do. But we got to get out there and we got to help these people through this particular situation because so many of them are lonely, okay? And then, of course, the third is community. And this is a huge, huge one. Over the last 5 years, we have created the most amazing community you can ever imagine. So, you know, first of all, yes, we have events, right? People come out at the events, they hang out, they go out for dinners, you know, and all that sort of things. Plus, we have member days where our coaching members can get together. And then what they do is they hang out and we do a bunch of brainstorming at round tables on these coaching days. So what also happens, though, is on Facebook, you would not believe, we got a Facebook group we've set up just for our members, that the learning goes on there. So I'm just going to show you a few, and I have trouble reading these from up here. But it says this, if I just get down and read it. Keith Roy, what is the most effective touch point you use to build your lifetime referral system? Events, mail-outs, personal visits, blah, blah, blah. How many comments did he get there? 29 comments he got from members on how to do that. You know, here's another one. This was from Maddie. It says, need a referral contact for Edmonton. Any recommendations? There was 8 below. Let's go to the next one here. There we go. Michael said, happy Friday, everyone. Does anyone have anything special they do for buyers and sellers on possession day? I've been finding that they really like conditional removal guests and are super excited, but I just feel the possession day is something that I can improve on. 31 comments they got on that. Like, this stuff is crazy. The ideas that come from this will absolutely blow your mind. This is funny because obviously Peloton. Luke and I are considering buying a Peloton bike. For those who have purchased it or used one, what are the pros and cons? We actually have, we've got a Peloton group now set up. It's called RRI Crew, where everybody sees what everybody's up to. Jeff said, pretty excited to say the Facebook group. So get this, Jeff, who I'm going to have next year teach how we did this. I've already got a plan for 2021. He created a private Facebook group. He's now got 5,000 members. 5,000 members in his private Facebook group. I think the number he told me, he did 16 deals from it in 2020. I'm pretty sure that was the number. But when I see stuff like this, not only does he share it here with the group, but then what ends up happening is I will find these people and I'll say, will you be willing to teach it to our members? And then we'll bring them on, whether it's 1 call, 2 calls. And again, it's all recorded, and they teach you the process of exactly how to do it. So that's what we've created. Like, this community is unbelievable. The community has become the strongest thing we have as an organization. And people just now, they get in coaching, it's become almost a lifetime program. You know, they like Martin Maz, I know he commented, Rodrigo, Patricia, all these people have been with us for many, 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 many years. Why would they stay? We've got to be bringing value. So the whole idea is this, is we're undertrained in a lot of cases, and we're lonely. In a lot of cases, what we do is we try to do it by the school of hard knocks. So what ends up happening when we're undertrained and lonely, we have fear and uncertainty. So the whole idea of this program is, yes, you know, I know it's called coaching, right? But if you look at it, it's really almost a coaching community. It's a coaching membership where it's so much more than that. And what we want to do is we want to help you eliminate fear and uncertainty, and we want to help you become confident, absolute confident in what it is you need to do, whether you're building a team or not building a team. You know, we help you with the hiring process, right? Where do you find people? Where should you advertise? We know all of that stuff. We've got all that expertise because we've worked with so many people over the last 21 years. So then you might look at it and say, well, why would I consider RRI? Well, I guess number one, obviously, we're a Canadian company. We're the largest in Canada in what it is we do. But the second reason, we don't teach a system. We are 100% about customization. We're not teaching one system. There's 17 ways to generate leads. we can teach you a system for any one of them. We know them all. Because some people wouldn't be good at doing it through Facebook. Maybe they're going to be doing it through, the lifetime referral system or open houses or geo-farming or whatever the case is. So what we've done is we've created systems for all that so we can show you how to produce these results. And at the end of the day, I always think, what would it feel like? Just think about this for a minute. What would it feel like to build a business that you absolutely love and that is fully supporting the life you want to live? Michael Gerber said it best. He said, your business should be a vehicle to enrich your life, not one that drains the life out of you. And that's what we stand for as an organization. It's about whole life. It's not just about making money. Okay? It's about building a business that we absolutely love it, and it's allowing us to sort of live the life of our dreams. And I stand for that even for me. So I live that way myself, because if we're going to teach it, then I better be obviously a large part of that as a leader. So how do you get involved? All you have to do is this. And by the way, the assessment fee is waived until December 7th. So there's a $700 assessment fee when you first join. But Kelly McCain said, well, when are you going to give them? What are you going to give them? What are you going to give them? So Kelly, here's what we're giving. So the assessment fee, which is $695, is waived, to the end, to December 7th. Now, why did I put that? Is because we're putting an application in the link. You can call the office. You can email the office to get involved, whichever works best for you. But I'd like you to set up a call with either Jamie, my daughter, or Storm Fletcher, our VP of Sales. Because I'm sure you got other questions, but I always look at it and say it's a two-way street, right? So that we need to talk to you first to make sure that this is something that would really work for you. Because if it can't be successful for both of us, we want a transformational relationship. We don't want a transactional relationship. We want both of us getting more out of this than number one, you're paying for, or number two, the work that we're doing. That's what makes relationships great, okay? Like John just said, ROI coaching has changed my life. So thank you for that, John. So anyway, there's how you can check it all out. You can download the application. You can have a look at the brochure, get a hold of somebody, have a conversation with them, schedule a call with them, and then as long as you're registered by, Monday, I think, of next week, for everybody at Royal LePage that's here today, we will waive the administration fee. Okay, I'm going to move to mindset. Are you guys ready, yes or no? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready for mindset. I know it's late in the day. Look, Corey took a moment away just from writing there to actually give me a thumbs up. Thanks, Corey. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's get this thing rocking and rolling. We're going to talk a little bit about mindset, some cool ideas around this, then we'll get to the Q&A. Boy, look, everybody's still paying great attention. I love that. I love that. Everybody's still here. It's better than that European one I did where one person fell asleep on the couch, right? Maybe it was me. Maybe I was really bad that day. After I did my second segment today, I walked out and my wife said, oh my God, you had a lot of energy. I said, well, of course I did, hon. I've done nothing for the last 3 weeks. I've done nothing. I've got to be fully rested. I have done nothing, right, except work at home. So I should have lots of energy. If I don't, there is a problem. Okay, so let's move forward here. Let's get into breakout gone, 15 minutes gone. Mastering your mindset. Mastering your mindset. Probably the most important thing we could ever figure out. I find mindset really interesting because it's funny how we'll train our physical bodies, but how much do we actually train our mind? And I think mindset is about mind training. So here's what a mindset is. It's an established set of attitudes held by someone, right? So in other words, it's probably we have thoughts, which those constant thoughts create our attitudes. So an example, think about this. When the world was flat, people had an attitude towards that. When they found out the world was round, they had a different attitude. And because of that, it completely changed their behavior. Completely changed their behavior. See, there's some people have this attitude that if they go out into the world, they better screw somebody else before they screw them. And then there's other people have this attitude that I want to go out into the world and I want to be of value to people. I want to really help them out. I don't think about selling, I think about helping. And because of that, right, they become very, very successful. That's sort of a set of belief. But a lot of people, it's established. Now, some people, there's no question. I get around some people, they're more motivated than others. They're more exciting than others. They have better energy than others. And I think, good for them. But the other people, they can change that, right? They can literally change it should they choose. And I love this thought right here. The heaviest burdens we carry are the thoughts in our heads. heaviest burdens we carry are the thoughts that are in our heads. And I think we would all agree that to be true. So I love this. The greatest discovery of any generation is that a human being can alter their life by altering their attitude. Completely alter their life by altering their attitude. And I will tell you, I am a living example of that, because I was raised to a degree in a different environment, and I got around the right people that changed my attitude. I started reading a lot of books that I still do that changed my attitude. I started to listen to a lot of podcasts, obviously of recent, because they're more popular. And all those things have completely changed the way I think. And I continually evolve. I'm a whole different person today than I was 10 years ago. So this is interesting. So studies have shown that people that can self-motivate, which is really having good thoughts, they earn more money than their peers, they report higher levels of happiness, and they report being more satisfied with their family, their jobs, and their lives. Attitude is everything. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to take you through the 5 ways to master your mindset. So these are 5 tactical things that you can do. So number 1 is this. We've got to learn to what I call future focus. Now, what is future focus? Future focus is the ability to see things as we would like them to be, not just as they are. Now, why is this really important? It's important for a couple reasons. When I say future focus, it's like you can see the dream, you can see the goal, you can see the business that you want to build, you can see the relationship you want to have. You visualize something in the future that you want to be better than it is now. So that's what I mean by future focus. Now, think about that. If we focus on what it is we want, it is actually motivational. It is exciting. Because remember I said earlier, hope of a better future is the most powerful force in the world. Hope of a better future is the most powerful force in the world. Viktor Frankl, in his great book, A Man's Search for Meaning, he talked about once people lost hope, they would die within 24 to 48 hours in the concentration camps. See, once they believed they were never going to get out, they'd let go. But as long as they had hope that someday they would get out, they could actually stay alive, that someday maybe they would see their family again. That's hope. See, the human spirit is powerful when we have hope of a better future. But if we don't have hope of a better future, obviously we're going to give up. And that's what future focus is all about. So the first reason for a future focus is that it motivates us, it inspires us, it excites us, it gives us something to work towards. And if you think about it, every human being in the world wants challenge. A lot of people go, oh, no, I just want my life to be easier. No, we all want challenge. If we didn't want challenge, we would not sit down and put a puzzle together. We would not play Monopoly. We would not play cards. We would not play golf. We would not play tennis. Every one of those things brings challenge to us. We find challenge entertaining. And when you create a future focus, you're doing exactly the same thing. Some people get to an age like, I'm 65 years old now, right? I'm just going to sit back and relax, and I've done everything I want to do. And I get inspired by people that still want to do something at 65. They want to build the bigger home, right? Whatever it is, they want to continue to work. That's what inspires me. They got something to live for. Like we see what's going down in the U.S. Biden, how old is Biden? Becoming he's president-elect. Who knows? He's supposed to be. But anyway, but you know what I mean? You look at him, you say, good for him, whether you like him or not. You know what I think to myself? Good for you, man. Good for you. You're 76. I think he's 76 years old or something like that. And look at the guy. He's become the president of the United States. See, my theory is those days when we lived in the industrialized world where you did this job for 40 hours or 50 hours every single week, and then you just worked your ass off for 40 years, and then someday you retire and kick back and relax. I think that's an old way of thinking, a completely old way of thinking, especially for all of you because you've got your own business. See, the way I think we think, I really believe this, we think is that, yeah, we want to have a really good business. That's our game. It's like our game of golf. It's like our game of cribbage or whatever it is. That's the game we're playing. That's the challenge we're taking on. We're going to build something fun. We're going to go out in the world. We're going to make a difference, right? And while we're doing that, we want to have some time to enjoy ourselves as well along the way. So we don't wait and live someday, but we live every year. We make every day, every week, every month, every year satisfying in and of itself. We're not waiting to get somewhere else, and we just continue to work. Now, we might continue to work less because we build this great team, which my wife and I have both done. Like, I don't grind it like I used to anymore. We've got a very successful business. We've got the most amazing team in the world. We've got the best customers in the world. Like, so I'm not killing myself. I still love what it is I do. But up until COVID, I was taking a week off every single month. And really, once COVID hit, it was just I was home all the time anyway. So it was sort of like taking all the time off. I'd work in the morning, work for an hour in the afternoon, or whatever the case was. I did a lot of presentations from my house. But I don't want to kill myself anymore. But I still want to build a business, and I still want to grow. That's the game. That's the game. That's a future focus. Can you see that? Can you see what it is you want to build? Right? I remember probably 20 years ago, I had a dream that what I wanted to have was I wanted to have a house here that had, everything I needed to live, right? And I wanted to have a house in Florida that had everything I needed to live. So I could just go down to one, the other whenever I want. Like, I've always been thinking about that. And for a number of years, I've had that, right? But it was a dream. It excited me when I thought about it, when I thought it to build. So that's what a future focus is. So we got to sit down, we got to write out our vision, we got to write down our goals. What is it that we're building here? Not just business-wise, but personally. And never stop building. Never stop building. Keep having the future focus, future focus, future focus, future focus. And somebody says, well, what if you die? Well, you die. Who cares, right? Well, I'm gone, but I'm going to keep moving while I'm here, doing the things that I love to do. When our mindset is like that, we can't help but be positive. We can't help but be motivational. We can't help overcome the challenges we're going to be faced with. Instead of thinking, oh boy, I've worked so hard in this bloody COVID, here we go again, you know what I mean? This damn business, I should just get out of it. Buyers are liars, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's cutting commission. It's just crazy out there what's going on, you know what I mean? You can't get what you're worth anymore. Listen, every business has all of those. And by the way, all of those things I just said have been happening since 1985 when I got into real estate. Nothing's changed. But sometimes we get focused on that. So you go to another business, you find out, you go to the other side of the fence. Oh, it looks way better over there. I'm going to go do something else. And then you finally jump the other side of the fence, you're doing something else, and you find out it was no better than where you were. It's the same stuff goes on. It's called business. It's called life. But get excited about the possibilities that we all have. I love this thought here. One of the most dangerous forms of human error is forgetting what one is trying to achieve. See, most people get up in the morning, they forget what their goals are, they forget what their vision is. They just get caught up in the busyness of the day, just trying to keep up. Never forget what it is you're building. Never lose hope of that better future. It's what sustains us. It's what keeps us alive. It's what keeps us going. The second is this, morning ignite. This literally, I've been doing this for over 20 years. And we've got probably hundreds of thousands of people that have taken this on. So what is a morning ignite? So everybody think about this. You wake up in the morning, and then all of a sudden, you start your day. Now, most people, what they do is they physically will get ready. So in other words, they'll have a shower, they'll put on their makeup, they'll do their hair, they'll put on some clean clothes. That's what they do to get ready. They physically, fully get ready for the day. And then they say, okay, now I'm physically ready for the day, let's go. But have you mentally prepared for the day? Are you doing mental training? We do physical work, but think about this. Your physical body is the hardware, the software is in your head. So are we programming this baby up here every single day? Are we putting good stuff in here every single day, every single day, every single day, so that we start to think better and differently than everybody else? So I call that the morning ignite. So the routine looks something like this. Take a period of time every single morning, not once in a while. I do it 5 days a week. And it's called R&R time, review and reflection time. And that's where you take 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes. You decide. Start out small if you're not doing it and work up to more time. Start with 10 minutes. Don't make it hard. And do something that you know is going to get your mindset in the right place. Reviewing your goals. Writing down what you're grateful for. Maybe for some of you it's prayer. Maybe for some people it's meditation. Maybe for some people it's reading a very positive nonfiction book or fiction book, whatever it is, what works for you. Maybe it's listen to a podcast. But it's something that when you're putting stuff in, it's making you feel better, not making you feel worse. I was talking to a friend the other day, actually Wayne, my buddy, works for him in Calgary, and I was talking to him on the phone, And he said, when you get in your car and you turn on your car, what's on the radio station or what's the audio that comes out? And I said, classic rock music. He goes, really? I said, yeah. I said, I just got classic rock music on all the time in my car, right? Now, sometimes I listen to podcasts, but when I'm in my car, it's usually classic rock. And I said, why do you ask? He goes, every time I get in my car, the only thing I listen to is news. The only thing I listen to. I'm so caught up in knowing what's going on in business, what's going on in the stock market, what's going on in this. And I said to him, how does it make you feel? He said, well, that's why I asked the question, because I think I'm addicted, he said. He goes, then I go home, and after I have dinner, I'm on the internet, I'm looking at news. I said, how does it make you feel? He goes, not very good. I said, exactly. Classic rock makes me feel really good. Now, I could listen to the news all day, but it tells me the stock market crashed. Oh, I'm not feeling so good now. Oh, COVID cases are low. Oh, I'm not feeling so good right now. And that's what we generally do. Remember, if it bleeds, it reads. It's not positive stuff you're going to read. So why not program yourself so positive stuff? Now, it doesn't mean you bury your head in the sand, right? Yes, we got to know what's going on in the world, but there's a time and place. We don't have to do it all day long. And why not get up in the morning and get this baby ready? So the first thing is R&R time, some period of time where you do something first thing in the morning, okay, that is positive. So, and again, my routine isn't necessarily what your routine is, but I can only relate to mine because it's what I do. But the first thing I did it this morning, 5:30, pop, alarm goes off, get myself a coffee, and what I do is I do my R&R time. And that's where I do some reading, right? It's where I'll review my goals. It's where I'll focus on my day. I'll think of what do I want to get done today? And then the second part of Ignite, number one is R time. The second part is some form of physical movement. Some form of physical movement. So now we got our mind ready, so let's get our body ready. Before we prepare on the outside, let's prepare on the inside. And if you think about it, all what I'm talking about makes complete common sense, doesn't it? Got our mind right? Good. And you might say, well, I got a great mind already. Make it better. Why not make it better? Why don't you get more positive? Why not read some great quotes that you could maybe share with your team? So you inspire them. When you get around them, they're going, whoa, what got into you? You know what I mean? How good is this? That's what they need. And then the second is some form of physical movement. Now, for me, I got a Peloton bike. So I have a trainer 3 days a week. I'm doing it by Zoom now, by the way, right? So 3 days a week, I have my trainer. 3 days a week, I get on my Peloton bike and do a 45-minute ride. That's my routine. And I do that not once in a while. I do it with absolute consistency because it's a commitment I have with me. These are things I got to do to make me better for you. Like, what can you do to make you better for your kids, you better for your husband or wife, you better for your customers? That is our responsibility, right? And that doesn't mean that I don't do lots of bad things and have lots of fun along the way. I'm not saying that at all. But my first hour to 2 hours, mine's 2 hours. It usually takes me about 2 hours to do all that. And then I'm done. Now I can have a shower. Now I'm going to get ready. Now I'm going to take on the world. But guess what? I'm ready now. I'm ready to go. And what a great place to remember your vision. Remember where you're going. Remember what you're building. Get excited about the possibilities of today. Understand why you're going to deal with those challenges today because of what it is you want to build. Like, that's what Ignite is. Okay? Number three, we go to number three, is make sure you have meaning in your life. Because without meaning, I'm telling you right now, everything will be empty. So think about this. If you look at the word meaning, it means to be tied to something bigger than yourself and brings you meaning. And you know what's interesting as human beings? As human beings, we were wired in a way, we're naturally wired in a way. It's innate in us all that when we do something for somebody else, we feel good. I'll give you an example. You hold a door open for somebody in a coffee shop, they walk by you, it makes you feel good, doesn't it? Makes them feel good, makes you feel good. Two people get to feel good out of you doing something for somebody else. You buy somebody a coffee and give them a coffee, makes you feel good. See, we're innately wired as human beings that when we feel best is when we're actually making some form of contribution. That's meaning. That's meaning. But then there's another thing called pleasure. And what pleasure is when we do something for ourselves. And the less meaning we have, the more pleasure we need. So the less meaning we have in our lives about making some form of contribution to your team, to the customers, to your family, to the people you serve, the less meaning you have, the more you seek out pleasure, 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 to make yourself feel good, feel good, feel good, feel good, feel good. Now, pleasure might be drinking, could be eating, could be going away, could be going out, whatever it is. And a little bit of pleasure is good, don't get me wrong. We got to have a little fun along the way as well. But when you have meaning, you don't need as much pleasure. But as human beings, because of the lack of meaning we have, we become seeking pleasure. It completely changed. So let me show you a couple things here to help you see this. So I read a book called Authentic Happiness. Now, I read this book many, many, many years ago. It was by Martin Seligman. Now, Martin Seligman, just so you know, he was sort of called the father of personal psychology, the positive personal psychology. So what it was is he was the first psychologist, okay, educated psychologist that came out and talked about motivation. Because psychologists back in those days, oh, motivation, that's all a bunch of crap. You know what I mean? You can't buy into all that stuff. No. But he started, maybe there's something here that we're missing as an industry. And he started putting on these huge conventions, and he brought psychologists in to talk about positive psychology, which is training ourselves to think differently. So anyway, he created something called the hierarchy of work. And you can see job, career, calling. So a job is nothing but a means to an end. When somebody has a job, it's just a means to an end. They go put in the time to get the money. That's all they want to do. Give me the time, right? I'll give you the time, you give me the money, and then I'm the hell out of here. I'm going to go drink some beer. That's a job. Lots of people in the world have jobs. Then there's something called a career. Now, a career is a little bit different. A career is that you're doing it for the money, but you want advancement. You want recognition. You want a new title. You want to become vice president of sales, not just salesperson, right? You know, you want to get the awards. You know, especially in real estate, they give it a lot of awards. That's when you've got a career. So you're making decent money when you got a career, and yes, you want to make more, nothing wrong with that, but you quite often do it for the recognition, for the next step, for the brass ring, you know, for the next title. And then, of course, you get there. Well, what do you go after now? The next one, right? Which are all outside of you, superficial stuff. That's what it is. But the third is a calling. And a calling, you can see a passion of commitment to work for its own sake. People with a calling and their work contributing to a greater cause, something larger than themselves. So let me give you a story. So back in the day, President Kennedy, if you remember back in 1961, he said, by 1970, we will put a man on the moon. There's the vision, right? There's the goal. There's what we're up to. Now, when those people went to work at NASA every day, I don't know if they called it NASA then, but say they did, do you think they remember what the goal was? Oh, yeah. Where are we going? Why are we putting up with all these problems? Why are we trying to invent a whole bunch of stuff? You know, this is really hard work. Oh, yeah, we're going to put a man on the moon. That's why we're doing it. So they get excited about doing it. So one day, Kennedy went to visit NASA, and he met a custodian. And he didn't know he was a custodian. And he stopped and he shook his hand, and he said to the custodian, he said, what do you do here at NASA? And the custodian said, I'm helping put a man on the moon. Wow, really? That's so cool. Thanks for being a part of that great vision that we have. So what is your responsibility to get the man on the moon? Oh, I'm a custodian. I sweep up and keep everything clean. That's a calling. Do you see the difference? We can take any job and we can make it a career. We can make it a calling. In real estate, you can have a job, and lots of real estate agents have a job. I just want to do a couple deals, take the rest of the month off. Well, going to do that? No, got a job. You know, I don't really like going to work every day. I don't like prospecting. I don't like doing lead follow, but I do it because I want to get paid. Job. Well, in the calling, I'm going to build something bigger. I'm going to get into the next club. You know what I mean? And I'm going to keep trying to get the next club, and build a bigger team, build a team. And by the way, I'm going to be number one. 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 If there's anything in real estate that's always confused me, how can be so many number one agents in the same bloody market? Have you ever seen that? Everybody's number one at something. I'm not number one sales, but I'm number one at customer service. Well, I'm not number one, but you're number one. You're number one to me. I see all this stuff all the time. I'm going, really? Everybody's number one. But when I see somebody advertise, you know, I got an award. I see it in the paper all the time. Oh, you know, there's 25 of us, and I was number 3. I go, when you put that ad in, who are you talking about? And you know what they always say? And I'm so thankful to all my customers to help me get in there. I'm just going, really? Really? Like, that's not meaning. That's a career. It's about recognition. That's why we do that. We're not putting that ad in for the customers. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have it in your pre-list packages and all that sort of stuff. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying you should have it in there. It's a good thing to have in there. It's a good way to be introduced, no question. But it's not the type of marketing you should be doing, because that's talking about you. It's not talking about guess what the customer cares about? The customer. The customer doesn't care about you. They care about them. They want to know how you can help them. Stop talking about you and start talking about them. And everything changes. All your marketing changes when you stop talking about you and you start talking about them. Everything changes. And that's a calling, because now you're trying to make some form of contribution. Now, here's what's really interesting. When we went to school, they taught us something called the hierarchy of needs by Maslow. Now, when you put these two models together, look what happens. Right? You look at the bottom. Physical needs at the bottom, right? We got to have food. We got to have water. We got to have that. Then we go to safety. We want to live in a safe place. Maybe we got a little more money. Now what we can do is we can move out of a bad area city and move to a better area. We can get a car. We don't have to walk. We don't have to ride a bike. Then once you get to that next level, you got a little more money, then you go to love and belonging. Well, I want to be a member of some clubs. You know, I'm going to get married. I'm going to have a family. That's the next step in life. And then we get to esteem. What's esteem? Esteem is a career. Esteem is about you want to be respected and viewed in the world. It's about recognition. But then you go to self-actualization. And self-actualization is where you look at what it is you do as a calling. All of a sudden now you're looking at it saying, I'm going to go into the world and I'm going to make my own little dent in the world by bringing value to other people. That's the difference. When it's not about you and it's about them, you're calling. When you're trying to make a contribution, you're going to get calling. When you're trying to get paid or be recognized, you got a job or you got a career. And this is the whole evolution of life that we've been taught in school. Well, there it is right there. Bring meaning to your life. How do you bring meaning to your life? Every single customer you sit with, you think to yourself, how can I help these people? You don't try to sell people, you try to help people. You don't try to sell people, you try to educate people so they can make the best decision for them. If they shouldn't buy the house, tell them they shouldn't buy the house. If it's priced too high, tell them the truth, it's priced too high. Everything you do is in the best interest of the customer. And when everything you do is in the best interest of the customer, you will have meaning. You'll be fulfilled. You'll feel good inside. And the other thing, I promise you, you'll have more business than you can look after. With your team, when you think about your team that way, you don't have to worry about team members leaving. They're not leaving because you're making their life better. See, the challenge in the world we live in is too many people are caught up in this whole esteem thing. Right? It's always about the car they drive and the house they live in. And by God, I like nice things as much as everybody else. But I want to get my nice things because I've gone out into the world and made a difference. Right? And I'm not going to stretch myself to get them. That's why I say always have 6 months worth of money in the bank so you never have to worry. Because if you're going to work because you need the money, it's the hardest thing to do in the world. Because I promise you this, the hungry never get fed. It's called commission breath. Get yourself in a position you don't need the deal. When you get yourself in a position you don't need the deal, I'm just going to say whatever I can say to help you the most. It'll come, man. It'll come faster than you've ever seen it come before because the rest of the world will become your supporters. The rest of the world will refer business to you like you can't imagine because they understand you're doing it for the right reasons. That's meaning. See, it says people are tempted to distract themselves with pleasure when their life is void of meaning. And this is just a decision, everybody. That's all it is. It's making a decision. It's waking up in the morning and maybe reviewing these slides on a regular basis to keep reminding yourself of the direction that you want to go in. That's when everything starts to change. And number 4 is find passion. Find passion. Remember the quote I said today? Here's the right one by Einstein. Everyone is a genius, Einstein. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid. There is not a person that's on here right now that isn't a genius at something. You're really good at some things, and you're terrible at others. Stop spending your time doing what you're not good at. Like, I know what I'm really, really good at, and that's what it is I do. And I stay away from the things I'm not. I'm not good at details. I'm not good at operations. It doesn't work for me. I can do it. I hate it. I don't look forward to any of it. All the things I get to do every day, I look forward to, and I surround myself with the people that can do all the things I can't. Dana Richard has a talent I don't have. He hires and manages the coaches, holds them accountable, checks in them all the time, makes sure that how many days in pro, like, it's unbelievable what he does. Right? If I was doing that, I'd go home at night, I'd probably drink myself silly so I could relax for a little while and get up the day and do the shit the next day again. Like, if you think about it, passion plus purpose equals potential. See, passion, when you get to do what you're best at every day, your natural talents, what you're gifted at, and when you're purposeful, you're doing it because you want to make a difference. When you get to use your natural gifts, maybe they're leadership, and when you're purposeful, you're doing it because you want to make a difference, that's where you find potential. And 5, so spend 80% of your time in what I call your big 3. I'm going to show you my big 3. This is what I do. My job in our company is leadership. And it's not my company, it's our company. We're all a part of something that's really, really cool. It's leadership. I can be a visionary. I can motivate. I can inspire. I can get people excited. I'm really good at that. And I don't have to work hard to do it. It just sort of comes natural to me. The second thing is content development. I got to constantly be developing concepts, okay? I got to write them down. I got to figure out how to present messages in a way that people will get it. Content development. And my third is communication. I'm a pretty good communicator. Whether I'm doing it right now with you, or whether I'm recording a podcast on the Richard Robbins show, or, whatever I happen to be doing. If I'm doing a webinar or something like that, I'm good at that. I'm really good at that. So I need to spend my time doing those things. When I spend my time doing those things, we're busy, things happen, and I surround myself with the people that are good at everything else. I look at Nathan Dart. He runs his team. He's got an incredible business, a highly effective business. His profit margins are good. Dana's worked with him on how to track his numbers. He gets it. He pays himself 50% like Dana talked about, and he's still got a 20% profit margin after he pays himself 50% of the deals that he does. He knows what his profit is. Here's what he's good at: building relationships and generating leads. He's really, really good at that. Training and coaching his team. He's really, really good at that. And listing appointments, as he says, for now, because he wants to get out of those too. That's what he does. There's his three. If he spends 80% of his time in those areas, his business continues to grow. He starts to spend 50% of his time in those areas, which he has got caught up in once in a while because of problems, his business stalls. Every time. And we've worked with him for 18 years. We see it happen all of the time. I look at Nathan, so when he first started, he was making like 180 grand a year and probably keeping 20. Now he's got an over $2 million business. He lives just outside of Washington, Maryland. He's got his lake house. He's going to be up at his lake house this weekend, which is gorgeous. He's a member of Congressional Golf and Country Club, where now he's building all these other great relationships. Like, the evolution in his life for a kid that's in his late 30s is unbelievable. But he gets it. He gets it, man. He gets it. And he's only working about 30 hours a week. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. That's what's possible, everybody. That's what's possible. Okay, so here's what I want to do. We're going to bring up Bill, and we're going to bring up Dana. And what I'd like you to do now is, we only got, 15 minutes or so to go. I'd like you, first of all, to put in there, as they come up, just put in there what's standing out for you right now, okay? Just standing out for you now. What was the aha? What is the thing you're feeling? What is going on? Okay, maybe from what we've talked about at some point today. And as you do that, you might put some stuff in there that will inspire others, but also give us a chance to read those things, and maybe we can add on them. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get into some of your questions, and then we'll start to close this out. Okay, come on up here, Dana Richard. Now, we got to do the social distancing, so I got to stay away from you. I got to stay away from you because you guys are dirty or something, right? You guys are diseased?
Pretty much.
Okay, so we got to do the social distancing, which is sort of crazy, right? Okay, good. So Shelley said integrity to myself. Good stuff. That's the only comment we've got so far, so I don't know. Track the profit, Katie Mills said. Very, very good. Yeah, profit is a beautiful thing. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. I want you right now, do you have any questions for Dane, any questions for Bill, or any questions for me? Angie said, figure out my big three. Nicole said, I need to have my overflow agents keep a scorecard. Yeah, and have more weekly, monthly meetings. Good stuff. Okay, Jason said, love to hear the explanation of the flow chart as a team. Love to hear the explanation of flow chart of a team. Aubrey says, I love attitude is everything. Okay, let me see what else we got over here. Colvin says, make the process enjoyable and simple for clients and team members, integrity to myself. John said, fill out all the pain points in every process. Yeah, very, very good. Okay, so questions. So what's happening right now is just, back, we got a couple Zoom rooms going on here, and back they're writing the questions down, and they're putting them here because this thing starts to move too fast for us sometimes. So we've got a couple to get started here. The first one says, so this is for Dana. Dana, how much should I pay my admin?
Okay, so we always get this question when we're hiring, or you're hiring an admin person, and the question is, well, how much should I pay them? And so really what you want to do is ask the range is between the front desk person at your office, at your head office, and I call the deal manager behind the scenes. So you know how you have, say, the person that looks after all the front staff and the back staff and the admin, they probably make the most. That's the upper limit of an admin, and the person that's starting off junior would be equivalent to the front person, front desk.
Right.
Right?
Okay. So in terms of pay, the other question I get all the time, I know it's not here, but people say, should I pay them a salary or should I put them on a piece of every deal?
I'm a big proponent of the salary because you know how paying a commission, like every time you do a deal, I'll give you $100 or $50. What happens is they say, oh, okay, but that doesn't motivate them to do better. We always think as agents, because money motivates us, is what happens is we say, oh, well, you know, if I could help Bill do 2 more deals, I'll make $200. They don't think that way. They do their job because that's just what they're built to do. So whether you pay them per deal doesn't motivate them. What motivates them is a constant, steady paycheck.
Yeah, very, very important. You got to remember, administrative people, they don't like risk, right? That's not their makeup. Their profiling is they don't like risk. So if they don't like risk, they just want to get a salary. They just want to know they're getting paid every other Thursday or whatever it is. That doesn't mean if you have a great quarter, you don't give them a bonus, or
Correct.
you don't, hey, you know, here's $300, go spend it on clothes. Well, that stuff's all fun, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can do that for sure. Okay, good stuff. I like somebody said here, do you see that, Bill? That was is that the key group?
Oh, the
we
key
need
group.
to listen to our coach, Bill, more.
Yes,
See
you
that?
do.
I like that. Okay, Bill, how do you maximize your productivity with so many things to do in a day? Which is a good question for you, because you're
Yeah.
very productive.
I think the idea at the end of it all is to make sure
Hey,
that
how did you get such a low stool?
I'm like one of the taller guys, and I got the short.
I think that's funny.
It's good. Make sure you put your hands on the things that generate the most money, or the highest return on your own investment in yourself. So don't catch yourself doing the things that are mundane, or the things that can be delegated to somebody at a lesser rate, because every time you take your hands off the wheel to do something smaller, you're billing your company out at twice the amount that you could be making, the amount of money that you're charging and the amount of money you're not making. So if you want to make photocopies for $400 an hour, go ahead, but that's not a great way to be, you know, longevity.
I think as a Royal LePage agent yourself, a Chairman Club member, I think this is a great time. You struggled for many, many years, and you were struggling successfully. So in other words, you were
Yes.
still making a lot of money.
Yes.
And I said something to you earlier this year, well, probably around June. I said, Bill, you're the happiest I've ever seen you. You're the most contented I've ever seen you since I met you.
Yes.
So what happened? Like why did that all change for you?
And it wasn't alcohol. For the most part, I think it was because I let go of a bunch of things and began, first of all, buying into the whole authenticity mindset. You know, we take off the masks, right? We all have our masks that we wear, and we try to live up to some expectation, and you're an imposter. And I kind of figured out, let's just give up that shit and just be yourself and let the cards fall where they may and do what you love to do, not what you think you have to do. Give everything else away. And I think that was the biggest leverage point, is that I have fun with it. It's like play now. And the end result is that people are more attracted to you when you're in your authentic state, which then ultimately, weirdly enough, leads you to more business. So it's a win-win.
Okay, and no question, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Just so you know, as I'm talking this, his eyes are welling up, okay?
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Because, Bill has been, a good friend for an awful long time, and Bill and Tina are just extraordinary human beings. But Bill, I think, struggled with the concept of, I don't know if I love selling real estate, right? And for a long time, should I keep selling real estate, or should I do something else? And I think he's finally come to grips with the fact that maybe he just needs to sell it his way, right? So tell him some of the changes. And by the way, best year ever, right?
Absolutely.
Best revenue year ever. Forget his coaching. That's just real estate. Best revenue year ever. Completely doing business his way. Okay? What changes did you make?
So my coach, Dana,
Yeah, that's right.
has been busting my butt about my database forever. And I was always Chicken Little. I didn't have a reason to call, and I would make up things. So this year I decided when COVID hit.
We decided together.
So Dana voluntold me to reach out to my database. And so what I did was I started every Friday, I implemented a Friday video for my database because I felt I had to give them something just to look forward to. Because I figured they're stuck or shut down, and it didn't come from a place of ego, like I had any great content to give them, but I just said, well, let me mess around with them, and that would be my method of reach out. Well, it shot everything through the roof. That just one little episode by itself. And then we got into some other creative content with our I Got a Guy series, and every other aspect I've dumped off to my administrator, and Dana keeps challenging me to find more to dump off, and I think she's about to quit, so I got to work that out. I'm kidding, she's not. But yeah, we've just found a way to work within a model that is really great. And I don't have teammates anymore, I've got overflow agents, so I do not like managing people.
Yeah, and that was a big discovery. We talk about being authentic or being yourself. Bill he always struggled with buyer's agents and, managing them, and, it just wasn't in his wheelhouse. So what ended up happening was, he just got overflow agents, so now he's got a couple agents, 2 or 3 agents in the office. 4 agents. That stuff that he doesn't want to do, he gives to them. He gets a nice chunk of that change sort of thing. It all works out, and he's got his assistant that does everything else. But these videos he started to do, and this is what is so powerful, is the videos he started to do, they're not business videos. They're mindset videos. They're funny things. He did one time. They were sucking out a septic tank. Like another one he did when he was putting up his Christmas lights and his, and like they're funny. They're funny, and they're just Bill doing stuff around his house. And now people get to see him. And because they get to see who he is, they trust him. And the number one question that any consumer will ask themselves before a major purchase, or somebody they're going to hire, is who can I trust?
Yeah.
Who can I trust? So that's why when we just get real and allow people to see, who we are, our good stuff and our bad stuff, that's when people start to trust us. It's not a weakness to show your weaknesses at all. It's a strength to show your weaknesses, right? And so that in his whole, honestly, I said, as much as we went through a very difficult year with COVID, in all the years I've known Bill, the most contented I've ever seen him in my life. And it's so nice to see, and it's so deserving, by the way.
Thank you.
So deserving. Dana, which category is the number one overspend? I know the answer to that.
Traditionally, they're both close. One is marketing, and the other one is paying your agents too much. Those are the two. We tend to. That's why I stressed your value. What's your value? Believe in your value, because if you don't believe in it, you just give the store away. So when you do believe in it, you'll be using the right metrics. But too often we give away too much.
Yeah, we see a lot of people, they blow their brains out in marketing. A lot of people, when they get involved, we look at all their numbers, we're going, you're spending how much in marketing, right? Well, you have to. I wouldn't have the leads if I wouldn't spend that much in marketing. No. We got to figure this thing out. We got to get more effective at what we're doing, because we still want to produce the same or more leads, but sometimes you're blowing your brains out. And the other problem with marketing, especially people that do a lot of external marketing, is sometimes I really think they're marketing to show themselves, right? It's a bit of an ego play rather than a very prudent business play. Yeah. And we got to be really, really careful of that. No question. It's really interesting. If you look at a lot of the top teams, and I don't know if you brought this up when you're doing your presentation, but a lot of the top teams are only paying their agents 35 or 45%, right? They're not. Everybody gets caught up in this 50, and then some people are 60 and 70, and I'm going, you can't do it. You can't be profitable and do that. You put all your commissions in. It looks like you're making money, but you're not. Right? It's just, and that's, if you're going to run a business, you got to run a business properly. Otherwise, you're better just to sell, right? And then if you want to do it that way. Thoughts on year-end bonus for admin, how much?
I think what you want to do is how profitable was your year. And say, for example, you had a good year and you want to throw back at the team. So you want to sort of think, okay, what is that amount? So a lot of times you do team dinners and stuff like that. Here's the caveat. If you give them a bonus, and I'm sure they're deserving, say $3,000, they expect that every year, because as an admin person, they say, okay, next year, so they work next year, 2021, I worked just as hard as I did in 2020, so I guess I'll get the same bonus. They don't realize it's based on your success too, right? So that's really what happens. And so once you pay a bonus, be prepared. You have to pay it all the time because they're thinking, I must have done something wrong because I didn't get a bonus this year.
Yeah. And I find it interesting that everybody, for some reason, gets in this mindset that we got to do year-end bonusing. I don't really think we have to do year-end bonusing. We could, right? But I also think another opportunity is to do things throughout the year. So let's say, this is an example, you have a really good month, right? So you had a really good month. You beat your goal. And go to everybody in your team. Bonnie Molnix gave me this idea. She goes to everybody in her team, and she'll give them like $300 cash. And she'll say, okay, you've got 2 hours to spend $300 on yourself, not your family, not your husband or wife, on yourself. In 3 hours, I want to see you back at the office with what you bought and your receipts, because it has to be for you. And anything you didn't spend, you got to give back to me. So she's trying to force them to spend it, and she wants to see it so she knows that they bought it for themselves. So she used to do all kinds of little things like that throughout the year, right? And I like that idea, right?
Martin Mazza in our system here, he's fabulous at that, and he'll take his team down to Florida to his condo for a week.
Yeah.
And then at Christmas, he'll take them out for lunch. Very much what we talked about, giving them money and go.
Yeah.
But he'll, like the guys, he went out and bought them. He says, here, let's go get measured suits, right?
Yeah.
So the guys got suits, and the ladies went with, I believe, with Martin's wife, and they went and got new dresses or whatever. So it's something special.
Yeah.
The thing is, money has a value, whereas a present is priceless.
An experience.
It's an experience, right? So if you you want to give an experience over pure cash.
Yeah. So don't miss what he said. Everybody thinks it's money. Experiences make people happier than money. So create experiences for your people, right? Yeah, somebody said tough this year, experiences, no question. But that doesn't mean that you, like for instance, we've had many of our members that have done some pretty cool experiences this year. Steve out in Vancouver, they had a cooking contest. And they had I don't know, I can't remember how they did it, with a lot of their clients. No, actually his team did the cooking and the clients were watching and they got to judge and things like that. So there's still, you could have a professional chef come into your house, all your team members are on Zoom, you send everybody on your team a couple bottles of wine and watch a professional chef exactly how to cook. These are the type of experience we can still do. So we just got to get creative in how we're going to do them, but it is still possible. Yes, we can't personally connect one-on-one, but we can still create great experiences using technology. 100%. You just got to get creative in how you're going to do that. Mm-hmm. Okay. So last question is said, best advice you can offer when family members are on your team? Well, I have two of them. So anybody got any ideas, and then maybe I'll share mine?
One challenge with a family team, for example, is, and because the team is so close, a lot of times they have them on their team, and especially in real estate, and then they all go on a trip. Who's left behind, right? Like to man the fort. So one thing to be careful of is too many team members that are family is like, and you all do things together outside of real estate.
Yeah.
That becomes a challenge, right? So that's one challenge to be careful. The other thing is sometimes with a team, you can't be upfront and honest, right? It's like, well, I can't really say that. That's my wife, right? And so that's the challenge. So, but you always think, what would you say if it wasn't your wife? Well, I'd fire them right away, right? And it's like, okay, well, so you got a problem. So there are a lot of times a little bit of logistics that way because you do want a really good team. Everyone's got to be hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the most important thing is that you got to have very strong boundaries. And what I mean by that, if I look at Sue and I, Sue's got her role and I got my role, and we don't overlap very often. That doesn't mean we don't get together and we don't talk and I don't have to have meetings. We do. But that's her lane over there, and I let her do her thing her way, even though that sometimes, I might not agree. And this is my lane, and she lets me do things my way. And that doesn't mean she always agrees with me either. But we stay in our lane, so we got boundaries, right? We know exactly what her role, like very clearly defined roles. And I know my role and she knows her role. And it's written out, by the way, job responsibility outline. And the same with Jamie. She has a very defined role in the organization. But we all have to adhere to very high standards. So in other words, my daughter works for us, and she's an unbelievable salesperson, like a great, 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 great salesperson. And I can promise you one thing, if she was, not doing a good job, or, her sales wasn't her talent, or she was trying to get away with things, she wouldn't work for us. And she knows that, right? And that doesn't mean we're being hard, but there is a certain expectation, right, that we have, and there's a certain expectation that she has of her mom and dad or her CEO and president. Like, there are roles, and we have to live up to those too.
Yep.
So we all got to operate at a very high standard. So I think, expectations, what are the expectations? Jamie knows what her goals are. And I also think then you got to make sure everybody's in their lane. And Jamie doesn't report to Sue and I, she reports to Storm, our VP of sales, right? And so and I know it's hard. It's sometimes a lot easier said than done, but I find sometimes you get people in a team and there's too much nepotism, right? Like, it's like, oh, yeah, well, the daughter and son can do whatever they want, but we can't. We can't operate that way.
Right.
No, you all got to operate to the same standards. And to be honest with you, I think family members got to operate at a higher standard. That's my feeling, right? We got to operate at a higher standard. We got to be the leaders, that sort of thing. Yeah, so good thought. Okay, so Dana Christie asked about putting coaching expenses into marketing or operational. There's a good one.
It's in operational.
It's an operational. So
Yeah, coaching should be in operational. Remember, we talked about marketing. Marketing is anything that touches the public,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay, I know we got some other comments. Bill, I Got a Guy campaign was really great. Having FI, we talked about that. Yeah. So, Bill, your business model, maybe quickly explain it.
Yeah, so I've gone back to being the lead team agent. I have an assistant who works essentially 3 days a week, and I've got 4 overflow agents. So, and I coach 30 people. So I basically balance all that through these 2 people. My wife does a little bit of the admin in the back end, and the overflow agents take everything. So I primarily work with my own database of people, and all the strangers that come in through lead pipe get distributed to the overflow. They pay me 35%, but I'm helping them build their database out. I'm too old. I got 30 years in. I have a database. I'm helping them build theirs because they're younger. But they pay me 35% and everybody's happy.
Does everybody get that transformational relationship? He's helping them build their database out, right? He's helping them build what he has already built, because something we teach is a lifetime referral system, which is the best marketing in the world is going to be the people in your database. Like, every year you got to be growing your database. Bill's already got that, right? So now he's got a 7-figure business. And by the way, he's already over 7 figures this year, and that doesn't include the overflow agents. That's just his income.
Right.
Okay, that doesn't include the overflow. So how do you compensate? We said this overflow. Do those leads then become theirs?
Yes.
Yes.
I let them have them.
Yeah. Good stuff, okay? Okay, I think that's all we got. Okay, so everybody, listen, we're finishing 5 minutes early. How good is that? When do we ever finish early, right? We're usually late. So it's like we're all getting out of school early. So I just want to say, we got the last slide up here, and I'm sure I'm going to bring it up for you, but at the end of the day, I look at it, my kids when they were very young, I used to drive my kids crazy, because what I used to do with my kids when they were young, I used to wake up every day and I'd say to them, I go, what are you going to do today? And they go, Dad, we're going to be happy, we're going to do our best, and we're going to have fun. That's what they, and I go, well, maybe you want to tell your face, because your face doesn't look like you're going to be happy, do your best, and have fun. But anyway, but they were just bored with me asking that question. And I used to say to them all the time, I said, listen, think about this. If we woke up every day, and if we just made a decision, today we're going to be happy. And I know we got problems. We all got problems. Boy, my year hasn't been, all that great. But still, we can choose to be happy. And then we can choose to do our best at whatever we choose to do. Whatever you're going to put your energy into, don't call it in. Don't mail it in. Give it your best. Give it your all. And then I think if we be happy and we do our best, we're probably going to what? We're probably going to have fun along the way. And the funniest thing, my daughter, who's now 28, now has about a 17-month-old son, Brooks. Guess what she's talking to Brooks about? So, Brooks, what are you going to do today? He's not quite speaking yet, but he's going to get it. And eventually it's going to be, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to do my best, and I have fun. And something I do read every morning when I'm going through called my Living Legacy, which is my NR time, in there it says, today, what am I going to do? I'm going to be happy. I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to have fun. I'm not always on track. I'm sometimes way off track. Some days are better than others. We get all of that. But at the end of the day, if I keep reminding myself of that and I can stay on track a little bit more, I think I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to love what it is I do. I'm going to bring some value to everybody else, and hopefully at the end of the day, we get to make a difference. So thank you all for being here today. It was so much fun. I'm glad we got to do this virtually instead of being in person like last year, and I hope to see you all real soon. Thanks, everybody. All the best.